She sold over 143 million records worldwide. She headlined Super Bowl halftime shows. She literally went to space. But right now, as you're watching this, Australian police are actively investigating Katy Perry for sexual assault. And once you see everything that led to this moment, you will never look at her the same way again. Because this isn't one accusation from one person. This is a 20-year trail of behavior, documented, filmed, witnessed, that was hiding in plain sight the entire time. And the most disturbing part? Nobody connected the dots. Until now. Let's set the scene. April 2025, Coachella weekend, one of the biggest music festivals on the planet. Justin Bieber takes the stage and delivers a performance that splits the internet completely in half. Half the crowd loved it, half thought he was phoning it in. Katy Perry, watching from the crowd with her boyfriend, former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, posts a sarcastic comment online. Something about YouTube Premium and not wanting to see ads. Normal celebrity noise, right? Just another pop star taking a shot at another pop star. Except someone was watching that comment very closely. Someone who had been waiting for almost 2 decades for the right moment. Her name is Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose is an Australian actress. You might know her from Orange is the New Black, John Wick, Resident Evil, or Pitch Perfect. She was one of the most recognizable queer icons of her generation. And out of nowhere, in the comments of a random article about Katy Perry watching Coachella, she typed this: "Katy Perry sexually assaulted me at Spice Market nightclub in Melbourne. Who gives a damn what she thinks?" The internet stopped because nobody even knew these two women had a history together. Nobody knew they'd been in the same room, let alone the same nightclub back in 2010. People immediately started asking questions, demanding details. And Ruby Rose, for the first time in almost 20 years, started talking. She explained that she had been in her early 20s when it happened. She explained that she had actually told the story before, but changed it, reframed it as a funny drunk anecdote, because she didn't know how else to process what had happened to her. Because coming forward felt impossible. She wrote, "It has taken me almost 2 decades to say this publicly, though I am so grateful to have made it long enough to find my voice. It just shows how much of an impact trauma and sexual assault takes." And then, because people pushed for specifics, she described exactly what happened that night. And I have to warn you right now, what she described is genuinely disturbing. According to Ruby, she had been actively trying to avoid Katy Perry that night. She was resting on her best friend's lap, keeping distance, making herself small. Katy Perry saw that, walked over anyway. And according to Ruby Rose, she committed an act of sexual assault so graphic, so violating, that Ruby immediately projectile vomited. She was 20 years old. She carried it alone for 20 years. Now here's where everything escalates. Ruby initially said she had no interest in filing a police report. She wrote that she hadn't even filed reports for more serious assaults at the hands of men, so this felt lower on the list. But she also said something that stopped everyone cold. She said Katy Perry was more than welcome to sue her. She said, and these are her words, "She won't, because it happened. I have photos. It was literally in public and witnessed by multiple people." Think about that for a second. She said she had photos. She said there were witnesses. The internet kept pushing. And eventually, Ruby Rose did something nobody expected. She walked into a police station, she filed all her reports. And then she went completely silent, because the investigators specifically asked her to stop talking publicly. She posted one final update. "As of this afternoon, I have finalized all my reports. This means I am no longer able to comment or talk publicly about any of those cases or the individuals involved. This is a standard request from the police. In many ways, quite the relief." Shortly after that, Victoria Police in Melbourne made it official. Their sexual offenses and child abuse investigation team, a specialist unit dedicated specifically to sexual crimes and child abuse, confirmed publicly that they are actively investigating a historical sexual assault that occurred in Melbourne in 2010 at a licensed premises in the CBD. They didn't name names. They didn't have to. Everyone knew exactly who they were talking about. This is a live criminal investigation, right now, as you watch this. Katy Perry's team responded fast. Her representative released a statement calling the allegations, quote, not only categorically false, but dangerous and reckless lies. They said Ruby Rose has a well-documented history of making allegations against people that have always been denied. And look, fairness matters here. These are allegations. No conviction exists. The investigation is ongoing. Katy Perry has the right to defend herself. But here's what Katy Perry's PR team is desperately hoping you don't do right now. They're hoping you don't go back and look at the last 20 years. Because if you do, the picture that emerges is impossible to ignore. Let's start with 2014. Anna Kendrick, beloved actress, known for Pitch Perfect, one of Hollywood's most likable stars, appears on Conan O'Brien's late-night show. She's laughing, telling a fun story about a wild night at the Grammys, and she says on national television, "Katy Perry finger-banged my cleavage." The audience laughs. Conan physically leans back in his chair like he's trying to escape the sentence he just heard. Anna plays it completely casual. And here's the part that should have alarmed everyone watching. When Conan asks her to explain, Anna says, yeah, she's aggressive. That's just her thing. Her thing. Not a one-off, not a mistake, not something out of character. Her thing. And nobody, not Conan, not the producers, not a single journalist the next morning, stopped to say, wait, that's assault. That's not a quirky celebrity trait. That's a pattern. But it gets worse, because 4 years later, in 2018, Katy Perry was a judge on American Idol. And this moment, it was played as a hilarious, memorable TV moment. Benjamin Glaze walked us how Katy Perry responded when this story went viral. She tweeted a gif of Minnie Mouse kissing Mickey Mouse, hashtagged his name, turned his violation into a joke for her followers. She thought it was funny. Still following the pattern? Because in 2019, a model named Josh Kloss came forward. Josh had appeared in the music video for Teenage Dream, one of Katy Perry's most iconic songs. He was a real person, not a background extra. He'd met her, he knew her, he even had a crush on her. He described being at a birthday party, seeing Katy Perry across the room, going over to say hello, hugging her, then turning to introduce his friend who had been dying to meet her. And in that moment, while his back was partially turned, Katy Perry grabbed the waistband of his sweatpants and underwear, pulled them out as far as she could, and exposed his genitals to everyone around them, in public, at a party, in front of his friend. He wrote on Instagram, "Can you imagine how pathetic and embarrassed I felt?" He was immediately attacked online. People said he was obsessed with her, that he was lying for attention, that he wanted money. He deleted the post, but the account of what happened didn't disappear. And then there's the Russian television presenter, Tina Kandelaki. She came forward and described being at an industry party where Katy Perry, visibly intoxicated, zeroed in on her, tried to kiss her, wouldn't take no for an answer. Kandelaki said she physically had to fight her off. She said, and this detail is chilling, that the moment she pushed back, Katy Perry simply turned around and found someone else, like she was looking for whoever would offer the least resistance. And most recently, after Ruby Rose came forward, a drag performer named Jordan Lamore shared her own experience. Jordan had been invited to a Katy Perry show years ago through a mutual connection. After finding out Jordan did drag, Katy Perry pulled her away from the group, took her downstairs to her personal dressing room, and started physically undressing her, pulling off her shirt, reaching for her jeans, while Jordan repeatedly said stop. It was only when a manager walked in and physically pulled Katy Perry away that it ended. Jordan said, "I have no doubt she assaulted Ruby. I experienced her not understanding consent firsthand." Stop for a second and let that list sink in. Ruby Rose, Anna Kendrick, Benjamin Glaze, Josh Kloss, Tina Kandelaki, Jordan Lamore. Different countries, different years, different industries, different circumstances, same behavior, touching without permission, kissing without consent, exposing people without warning, disrobing people who are saying stop. And every single time, it was laughed off, excused, repackaged as a fun story or a quirky moment, or just Katy being Katy. Here's the psychology of what was actually happening. When a powerful celebrity, especially a woman, does something like this, the social pressure to minimize it is immense. If you're Anna Kendrick and Katy Perry gropes you at the Grammys, what do? You can't make a scene. You can't call it assault in real time without your entire career taking the hit. So you laugh. You retell it as an anecdote. You make it harmless. If you're a model in her music video and she publicly humiliates you at a party, who is going to believe you over Katy Perry? So you post on Instagram, get destroyed in the comments, and delete it. The power dynamic does the silencing for her, and she never had to face a single consequence, so she never stopped. In 2020, someone finally put the question directly to Katy Perry. She was doing a major interview with The Guardian. By this point, multiple people had already accused her of misconduct. The journalist asked her how she reflected on those allegations. She said, "I think we live in a world where anyone can say anything. There are no checks and balances." Not a denial, not an apology, not any acknowledgement that real people described real experiences. A media criticism talking point. The journalist pressed further. So the allegations weren't true? Katy Perry inhaled, paused, and said she wasn't going to comment because she didn't want to distract from the real movement. She used the Me Too movement as a shield against accountability for her own alleged behavior. And the interview moved on. Here's what I think is the most important thing to understand about this entire story. Most predators hide. They operate in secret. They threaten victims. They cover their tracks. They build careful public images that contradict who they are in private. Katy Perry didn't hide any of this. The cleavage incident happened at the Grammys. The stolen kiss happened on live television, watched by millions. The pants pulling happened at a party full of people. The shorts incident was caught on video at a public event. All of it was out in the open, and that tells you something crucial. She didn't think she was doing anything wrong. She thought it was funny. She thought it was charming. She thought being a famous, attractive woman meant the normal rules didn't apply to her. And for 20 years, because nobody called it what it was, she was right. So where does this go now? The investigation in Melbourne is active. The Spice Market nightclub has since closed its doors, which complicates the evidence gathering. Security footage from 2010 almost certainly doesn't exist anymore. But Ruby Rose claims she has photos. She claims there were witnesses. And legal experts who've studied Australian law have noted something important. There is no statute of limitations on sexual assault in Victoria. If the evidence supports the charge, Katy Perry could theoretically face criminal liability regardless of how long ago this happened. Australian police have also confirmed they may interview people overseas. They could conduct Zoom interviews. They could fly detectives to the United States. In serious cases, they have done both. Whether Katy Perry is ever charged remains to be seen. Whether she is ever convicted remains to be seen. But here is what cannot be unseen. 10 people across 2 decades described the same pattern of behavior. Several of those incidents were documented on camera. One is now the subject of a criminal investigation by a specialist police unit. And through all of it, Katy Perry smiled, tweeted jokes, and kept performing. The Roar is still playing on radio stations everywhere. The California Girls video still has hundreds of millions of views. The Super Bowl halftime show is still one of the most watched in television history. But now, every time you hear that music, you'll remember this. A woman in her early 20s, resting on her friend's lap, trying to avoid someone who made her uncomfortable. A 19-year-old boy standing in front of a panel of judges, trying to protect something he considered sacred. A model at a birthday party, turning to introduce his friend, completely vulnerable. All of them laughed at when they tried to speak. All of them dismissed when they tried to be heard. The pattern was there the whole time. We just finally stopped laughing long enough to see it. This investigation is still unfolding. New information may emerge. We will cover every development as it happens. If this story opened your eyes, subscribe, because the stories that matter most are usually the ones that we're hiding in plain sight.